What is going down, faithful? We are fresh off of coming back from training camp practices in Santa Clara, and today we have a lot of stuff to talk about because the San Francisco 49ers offense was balling today. We're going to talk about who balled out the most, how the quarterbacks looked, and standouts that might surprise you. We're going to talk about it all right now, but you already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's talk about some San Francisco 49ers football. Let's go. You already know. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What's good, gang? We are now coming to you live from YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram, and we are here to talk about training camp. And let me tell you right now, this was the best training camp practice of the year that I attended for multiple reasons. Obviously, it's always more fun when the offense is out here cooking, but also the defense had some good plays too. It's not just offense, quarterback centric all the time, even though it still is. The 49ers, man, straight off of training camp, you can see that I've been out in the sun all day by the red complexion. Let's hop right into it. We're going to talk about the quarterbacks. Yes, we are going to talk about the quarterbacks. What would 49ers content be without talking about the quarterbacks? But right now, Brandon Aiyuk heading into his second season, because I say second season because last year Brandon Aiyuk went absolutely insane. We knew that. Brandon Aiyuk was the best player of training camp last year. It has not stopped. Brandon Aiyuk today was the best player on the field, hands down, no question about it. Brandon Aiyuk caught multiple touchdowns, I believe 4 in total through multiple different team periods from multiple quarterbacks in a multitude of different ways. Brandon Aiyuk right now is the hottest 49er player. I mean, he's absolutely cooking. So to all my fantasy football folks, pay attention because Brandon Aiyuk, if given ample opportunity, which we do expect he will, definitely has an opportunity to exceed his 1,000-yard receiving season that he hit for the first time last year. Brandon Aiyuk right now looks absolutely he looks like one of the better players that I've ever seen step onto a football field. I think that we'll talk about this play from Brandon Aiyuk that I think kind of exemplifies like just how much he's cooking right now. Brandon Ayuk's always open. So Brandon Aiyuk right now, whenever he steps onto the field, get the hell out of here, is always open. And one of the things right now with Brandon, doesn't matter how he beats you. He's going to beat you. It's just a matter of time. This particular play was kind of a short intermediate crossing route. Sam Darnold puts it on a dart to him. He's able to catch it in stride. And they're coming from about the 50-yard line into like heading towards the end zone. Brandon Aiyuk turns on the burners. He gets a block on the outside. I wish I could give credit to the receiver that was on the outside who kind of set this little edge for Aiyuk, but Aiyuk turned on the burners and went all the way to the right pylon, and he dusted the entire 49ers defense. Again, that there's a lot of speed on that 49ers defense, and he put on the burners, scored a touchdown. My favorite part of the whole play was Brandon Aiyuk taking the football and throwing it as hard as he could at the scoreboard just to kind of put the exclamation point on that particular play. But Brandon Aiyuk did it, like I said, in a multitude of different ways. He scored on an in-breaking route from about 20 yards out. He almost scored on a Trey Lance dart. He also scored another touchdown from Brandon Allen, and so it was crazy. Aiyuk was an absolute menace on the field today, and I don't think it's a surprise, but I think it's worth discussing that Brandon Aiyuk right now is absolutely playing on another level and is the best player on the field right now. Before we get into quarterbacks, I'm saving the quarterback talk. I'm making you stick with me because we are going to talk about the quarterbacks. We're going to talk about Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen because Brock Purdy did not practice today as it was a scheduled rest day. So we will be able to see Brock Purdy tomorrow when the pads come on. But I do want to talk about the 49ers running backs. The 49ers running backs right now, day one, it was TDP. TDP had a phenomenal day, first day of training camp. But since then, not that he hasn't regressed. It's not that he's regressed or anything. It's that Elijah Mitchell and Jordan Mason are running extremely hard right now. It's just you take a step back. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is leading the charge for the 49ers running back room. But then you look at the way Elijah Mitchell is playing, you look at the way Jordan Mason is playing, and then the kind of step forward that TDP has made this year. This is easily going to be the best running back room that Kyle Shanahan has had in his career, not his career, in his tenure with the San Francisco 49ers. This running back room is about to go crazy. So the running backs look good. And again, not just running backs too. Defensive line made some plays. But let's get to it, shall we? Let's quit messing around. Let's talk about the 49ers quarterbacks. I know a lot of people want to know about every day what the quarterbacks are doing, how they're playing, and all that stuff. And today is no different. I will say today, between Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, and Brandon Allen, was the best day for all three of them since training camp has started. It was the best day for the offense in general since training camp started. You could really feel as a unit everything clicking and coming together. And again, not everything was perfect. There was still some sacks given up and things like that. But for the most part, when you looked at Sam, Trey, and Brandon, they all made good quality throws today. They all had some mistakes as to be expected because it's practice. But for the most part, the general body of work between all the 49ers quarterbacks was really good. Sam Darnold continues to what feels like get better every day. Sam today felt in complete command of what he was trying to accomplish. He threw multiple touchdowns today, whether in red zone period or in team drills. The ball is coming out really nice for Sam Darnold. For the most part, obviously, that has never been a big question mark regarding Sam. It's just been the decision making. And so far, for the most part, Sam is doing a pretty solid job of being able to find the open wide receivers and get them the football. There was one particular play where he tried to force it to Juwan Jennings down the seam. Juwan Jennings had a ton of different defenders all around him, and it wasn't a completed pass. You did have Brandon Aiyuk one-on-one with the cornerback on a slant route, and he came open right away, and it would have been a walk-in touchdown. But also, too, it's important. You don't know exactly what they're trying to drill, the specific play, who they're targeting against what particular defense, what they're trying to accomplish. So it's not necessarily a poor read. It's just necessarily they didn't hit it there, and you had Aiyuk open on a little slant. So those things are going to happen. One of the first throws for Trey Lance, who started team period, was really, really nice. Trey Lance hit a little play action boot, and this was a difficult throw because it was about 20, 25 yards. It's really hard for me to judge the exact depth on it, but Trey Lance had to hit play action, turn his back to the defense, reset, and he hit George Kittle down the seam in between two defenders for a quality gain. It was a good throw. Ball came out nice. He put it in the perfect spot for George Kittle to go up and snag it in between two defenders. And that was how he started out practice. And that really did feel like it kind of set the tone because, like I said, no Brock Purdy. Trey Lance took the starting reps right out the gate. And then you had Trey Lance hit George Kittle for a beautiful pass right down the seam to Kittle. I have in my notes is about 35 yards. So that's about the range in which we got it. Let's see. So like I said, from multiple quarterbacks, each quarterbacks scored a touchdown on the day, I believe. I think Trey was close. I'd have to double check. No, Trey had a touchdown to Conley. That's what it was. So Trey had a touchdown pass to Conley. Chris Conley, who's been a veteran in this league, I think is someone that we're going to have to be paying attention to. Hold on one second. Apologies for the guy messing up the experience on the Instagram live. I think I got him out of here. So hopefully that guy's cooked. But Trey Lance hit Chris Conley on a touchdown in team period for about 20 yards. Chris Conley was wide open. Chris Conley's a name that is starting to be a riser for me. A shout out my guy SDS gang. So Chris Conley, obviously Danny Gray, Ray McLeod are the guys that are expected to be here kind of behind Juwan Jennings when we're talking about pecking order of like 49ers wide receivers. Chris Conley is a name that I think that we need to start paying attention to. Last Thursday, he had a phenomenal play where he didn't even catch the ball. It was someone else, and he turned into a lead blocker, and just you could see the effort. And some of the things that I love about Brandon Aiyuk and his effort as a blocker, you kind of got to see from Chris Conley. And then today, Chris Conley made some plays after getting some more reps, and he had a touchdown from Trey Lance. Let's see. There was another play. So Spencer Waege, the undrafted free agent out of North Dakota Stack, I call it a potential sack because, as we know, in practices, defensive linemen aren't trying to affect or stop the play. They're trying to win their rep, win their position, and if they get into the backfield, they move out of the way because they're not trying to get their quarterback injured, have their quarterback throw the football, come down, hit their finger, hit something like that. So from my view, Spencer Waege broke free. It would have been a sack, but Trey Lance was able to dip out to his left, and he ran for about 20, 25 yards for a would-be touchdown to the left pylon. And what's really cool about that is obviously we know, Brock Purdy's not the only one coming back from injury. It's also Trey Lance, and his ankle looks good. You don't really see any limitations in regards to the ankle injury that he had week 2 against the Seattle Seahawks. So Trey Lance looks like he's good to go on that. He's good to go on that ankle. It wasn't all perfect, like I said, for everyone. Trey Lance did start one of the team periods off with a fumble. But one of the probably sickest plays for a defender on today's day was from Drake Jackson. And I think that's really, really exciting because with Drake Jackson, we are anticipating that Drake is going to be the defensive end on the opposite side of Nick Bosa once Bosa gets paid, who, again, as we know, is still in the middle of a holdout. So, no Nick Bosa at practice. But we do anticipate that it's going to be Drake Jackson on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. So, what happened was based on the defensive alignment and the defensive call, it turned into Drake Jackson being one-on-one in coverage with Elijah Mitchell running a wheel route down the left sideline. The reason why this particular play was so cool for Drake Jackson is because we know that Elijah Mitchell is fast. We know he's clocked at being an extremely fast runner. Drake Jackson was in his hip pocket like he was a defensive back, running step for step with Elijah Mitchell all the way down the sideline, about 20, 25 yards. Trey Lance ripped it and tried to hit Elijah Mitchell. But just imagine like a 6'4", 6'5" Drake Jackson in the inside hip pocket of Elijah Mitchell, stuck to him like glue. The ball just hit Drake in the back because literally Drake's massive size engulfs Elijah Mitchell in that type of scenario. And where are you going to go with the football? And it just hit Drake right in the back. Counts as a deflected pass for Drake Jackson. But again, the coolest thing about it was we know he's added the size. We know he's added the strength. But he is still a freak athlete. The fact that he was able to cover Elijah Mitchell in that type of scenario was great. It really was. It was one of my favorite plays from the defense on the day. Let's see, for a couple other plays that we had. This one was a cool play. This one was an extended play because, again, Javon Kinlaw flashed on the interior, so it looked like it would have been a Javon Kinlaw sack up the middle. And Sam Darnold's the quarterback. He kind of bailed out to his right, and so he's on the running towards the right sideline. And Brandon Aiyuk is running across the back of the end zone, and Sam Darnold delivers an absolute dart to the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Again, it probably would have been a sack, but they let those things roll. And that's what I like about them not blowing the play dead, allowing the play to continue, because you can still maximize the rep, even if Javon Kinlaw got home for a potential would-be sack. You keep the play alive. You see what Sam Darnold could do on the move, and he hits Brandon Aiyuk in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Again, it was Brandon Aiyuk day down in Santa Clara. Really, really good. But again, outside all of that, all three quarterbacks today played pretty well, all things considered. Much better than the previous days that I was at training camp. I really do think that both Sam, Trey, and Brandon Allen had a really, really good day. If you had to twist my arm and tell me who had the best practice out of the three, I would give a slight edge to Sam Darnold. Just a little bit. And again, part of that has to go with the fumble. Trey did miss on a play action rollout to Deebo Samuel, which was kind of a layup throw, but it sailed out of bounds. So those are the things that Trey's still working on. But still a really good day for Trey, especially compared to the previous days of practice. Trey made some good throws over the middle. down the seam. Um, he had a much better day than the previous practices I was at. Uh, let's see. Let's see what else. Again, I talked about Sam had a miss or two here. Brandon Allen had a miss or two. We talked about the Spencer Wagee. We talked about Trey Lance scramble for a touchdown, but probably would have been a sack. Trey Lance had a dart over the middle. I think I talked about that one. He had a dart over the middle in red zone period. Aiyuk got tackled at the 1, would have been a potential touchdown. Darnold missed Kittle on a play. But again, like I said, overall, the 49ers quarterbacks had a really, really solid day today. So can't really complain. There's as we discussed, and I keep saying it, the expectation level right now for these quarterbacks is not perfection. It's being able to show consistent improvement day in and day out. And based on what today was, we got that. We got the steps forward. We got guys getting better today. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways. So today was a very good day for the 49ers offense. Again, defense made plays too, but I would say defense or the offense was clicking and had the upper hand on the 49ers defense today. Felt like Kyle was opening it up a little bit more, allowing the quarterbacks to spread the ball out a little bit more. And we saw the result. Brandon Aiyuk going absolutely crazy. I don't think Jake Moody kicked today. I think it was another day where it was just Zane Gonzalez out there. So it does feel like the 49ers are rotating back and forth each day between the kickers. It's just how Kyle's working the snap share right now for that whole situation. But Zane, I don't think missed a kick today. So potentially got a kicker battle on our hands. I don't know. Zane Gonzalez hasn't been kicking bad. But Moody looks good out there when he gets his opportunities as well. I think tomorrow is going to be one of the best days for sure. I think that's the day that everyone needs to tune in for what is going down with the San Francisco 49ers because pads come on tomorrow. So with the pads coming on tomorrow, we finally get a really good look at the O-line versus D-line. And that for me is huge because we're going to get a much better idea of what these running lanes look like, how the running backs actually operate within those types of realistic kind of running lanes based on being able to have full contact in the trenches. We are also going to get Trent Williams had the day off today. So I do expect Trent to be back tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to Drake Jackson versus Trent Williams. That's going to be a fire matchup, and we're going to be able to get to see Javon Hargrave in pads going up against the interior offensive line, and we're going to see these guys cooking a little more. One player that, from a rookie standpoint, that I'm really liking is Braden Willis. I think you can really see Braden Willis's athletic ability when he gets the ball in his hands. He moves really well. So Braden Willis, the 7th round tight end that the 49ers drafted, he's a guy that, isn't getting a ton of volume, but when he's getting the ball in his hands and he's trying to make someone miss or kind of wiggle out, you can see it happening. and you can see the athletic ability that he has, and he seems like a guy that could definitely and should definitely make this roster. So Braden Willis, again, not getting a ton of volume early, but when he gets the ball in his hands, you can see the wiggle that he possesses. Um, for the most part, up until this point in training camp, the defense has had the upper hand. This is the first time that the offense really took a strong step forward. So that is a big, big time positive for the 49ers. Big time positive for the 49ers because we already know how good the defense is. We already know how good the defense is. Kerry Hyder Jr. had a deflected pass at the line of scrimmage. I believe Trey Lance was trying to get it out. Hyder had knocked it down. Let's see what other good stuff did we get. Again, the 49ers defense stopped the potential Juwan Jennings touchdown from Sam Darnold. Spencer Waege, potential sack. Javon Kinlaw, potential sack. But even with those things, 49ers offense really started to click later on. So my guy says, saw you today with a notebook, but you were deep in thoughts, so I didn't meet you. Hey, feel free to say what's up, man. I don't mind. I get locked in, but I always got time if you guys want to say what's up. So feel free. I do get pretty locked in. That's for sure. But if you do see me at training camp, do not hesitate to say what's up. My guy says praying for Kinlaw's health. Absolutely. Shout out to my guy. He says thanks again for signing my bucket hat. That was dope. Shout out to my guy. My guy had the black bucket hat with the silver Sharpie. Really made that thing pop. Appreciate you, my guy. But yeah, man. Overall, I really liked what I saw today. Today was a good day. And we're gonna get Brock Purdy back tomorrow. We're gonna get Trent Williams back tomorrow. I imagine by design, with tomorrow being the first day of pads, 49ers have split the reps like that intentionally. So we'll be able to get him going. Someone said, Greedy Greg said, what happened with Kinlaw? Nothing happened with Kinlaw. Kinlaw made a good play today. Would have had a potential sack on, I think it was Trey Lance. But so far, he's looked good. Hendrick says, Brad, you look sunburned, my boy. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was at the beach yesterday. So my son's birthday was yesterday. So we went to the beach. That contributed to my already red face. Then I was out in the sun today. More sun. So my guy says, brother, use sunscreen. You look as red as an apple. Absolutely. It's just to go with the whole ginger complexion. That's really what we're going for. Just to make everything just look one color. Someone said, you worried about the Bosa situation. I would say this is going on definitely much longer than I anticipated. I did not think Bosa would be being held out this long. But tomorrow's the first day of pads, and it'll be really interesting to see if we go with or without Bosa. When it comes to Nick Bosa not practicing, I'm overall not worried about that. Like, I can live with Nick Bosa taking his time getting back on the field, because if they're just like Fred Warner said, if there's anyone that we don't need to worry about, The person that we don't need to worry about is Nick Bosa coming in, being in shape and ready to go. He's an absolute machine when it comes to his preparation, and so no concerns from that type of perspective. I think it's just I think it's just a situation where we already know this contract is going to be really large. He is going to be most likely the highest paid defender in history is what I would imagine. And because of that, I think it's just kind of a staring match. I think it's both sides obviously understanding that they want this deal to get done. They want Bosa here for the long term. That Bosa wants to be here for the long term. It just really comes down to who's going to flinch, who's going to say, "All right, this is good enough for us. Let's get this thing done. Let's get it signed." I would imagine Bosa's going to be pretty hard on the number that he's going to try to obtain. I don't imagine him being too flexible because he's obviously won Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. The sack production and his importance to the defense is clearly recognizable. So he's going to get paid, and he's going to get paid quite a bit. I think it's really just both sides agreeing to what that amount is actually going to be. So hopefully we find out soon. Hopefully we find out this afternoon. Hopefully we find out tomorrow morning. It would be great to see Nick Bosa back out at practice, for sure. Um, we wanna get the bear out of hibernation. I know hibernation is good for the bear, but we don't want him hibernating too much. You know what I mean? We, we don't want to keep the bear. We don't want to let him just be a little too extra sleepy. Not that we think that's going to happen, but I would love to see kind of like the full complement of the defensive line, what it looks like together, and just ultimately what that looks like. So that's what I'm really excited for. So hopefully that gets taken care of itself. I'm trying not to get too caught up in the weeds about it. I do know that the 49ers can, you know, I don't want to say hard, but like they're definitely not just doling out historic contracts for nothing. Like there's definitely going to be a bit of a back and forth. So we'll see how it goes overall. Um, but I would say this, just kind of in regards to the overall team, overall health of the team, where everyone's at. I feel really comfortable. I know this offseason has been dominated by the questions at quarterback. But to be honest with you guys, like obviously I want to see what Brock Purdy looks like. I got to see him on his first day back, and he was definitely rusty, but it wasn't the type of rust where I was concerned about that rust. It was like, okay, it's the first time that we're seeing him in a live practice situation, in 11 on 11s, and it wasn't perfect, but it also wasn't absolutely terrible, to where it was concerning. It was just kind of par for the course. Day one for Brock Purdy was more just ensuring that he could still throw a football. He still had the arm strength and still had accuracy and touch, and he showed all those things. So that's a good step. So, but with the way the 49ers quarterbacks have been practicing, like when you look at Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, and Brandon Allen today, if they played like that, those guys could win some football games in the regular season. And obviously, with Pad starting tomorrow, Brock Purdy coming back into the mix tomorrow, we're going to see how Brock Purdy looks when we assume that he kind of retakes the first team reps with the starters, which he's done primarily since being back. Um, but again, when we see Brock Purdy come back, if he can continue to stack good days and have another good day tomorrow of practice, along with the rest of the 49ers quarterbacks, it should do a lot for building a ton of optimism surrounding this offense that, again, we've talked about ad nauseum regarding what the situation is, what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So right now, I'm pretty pleased with the current situation. I'm pretty pleased with what I've seen. It was definitely a rougher start, definitely a little shaky for day one, and then Trey Lance had a couple struggles here or there, but today was a good day for all three quarterbacks. So definitely a good spot to be in. If all your guys are playing at a high level, that's what we're looking for. That's what we want. We want the decision to be hard at quarterback. We want to have to really have a hard decision on who to go with because they're performing at such a high level. That would be the ideal scenario right now for the 49ers quarterback position. So, with that all being said, we got one more puzzle piece added to the current setup, and we will see how it continues to progress tomorrow with pads. Tomorrow is going to be such a fun day. Tomorrow's the day that I've been waiting for. I know it's the first day of training camp and the first day of pads. Those are like the two big, like, we're back when it comes to 49ers football. It's always good to be back around football and training camp when it's day one. But when it's day one of pads and you get to start hearing the sounds, the crunch of the hits and the pads and helmets smashing into each other at full speed, that's when you know football's back. So very, very excited about what we're looking like tomorrow. Again, first padded practice, when everything comes on, and really, really excited about it. Angel says, sounds like Drake Jackson has been a beast lately in practice. Keeping up with Mitchell is amazing. Yeah, Drake has looked great. Drake has looked great, but the real test for Drake comes tomorrow. So he's looked great under the current circumstances with no pads. D line will always be an advantage with no pads versus O line. So we get a level, even playing field between O line and D line starting tomorrow. So that's why tomorrow is going to be such an exciting day, especially for me personally, because you guys already know how I roll. I like watching O line, D line. I am a trench guy. So that's where I am going to be watching tomorrow. I'm going to be watching Banks, Burford, Brendel, McKivitz. So far, McKivitz has been holding up pretty well, by the way. Jayla Moore appears to be the current swing tackle who's been stepping in for Trent Williams, but I'm excited to see what Trent Williams is looking like. We're going to see some fullbacks out here blocking Kyle Juszczyk. See what the tight end. So with these rookie tight ends, I really want to see how they hold up in the run game. Like, being good in the passing game is cool and all. But as we know, with the San Francisco 49ers scheme, offense, and what Kyle Shanahan likes to do, what really, really matters is how you operate the blocking game. So I'm excited to see how the rookies hold up there. We get one-on-ones tomorrow. So we're going to get one-on-one O-line, D-line. We're going to get one-on-one wide receiver, cornerback. We're going to get one-on-one tight end, running backs versus linebackers, safeties. So tomorrow's going to be a fun day. So I know last week people were kind of nervous about how practice was going. Felt kind of par for the course just because offenses typically have slow starts to start training camp. And as to be expected, shocker, the 49ers offense is starting to catch up. So right now, very, very looking forward to what that ultimately looks like tomorrow. If you guys got any other questions about training camp today, feel free to fire them off. If you got any questions about training camp in general or what some things to look out for tomorrow when pads come on, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if not, we will keep it going and all that good stuff. So, beautiful day in Santa Clara today. Beautiful day for football. Beautiful day for some offense and the ball slinging through the air. Really, really. So this is actually I haven't gotten a good look at Robert Beal. I really haven't, and so he's going to be a guy that I'm going to look out for tomorrow. Robert hasn't flashed, but that doesn't mean he's not doing the small things right. A guy who keeps who's flashed a little bit has been Spencer Waege from the rookie defensive line. They kind of have Spencer Waege lining up on the interior in pass rushing situations. So that feels like where Chris Kosurik is kind of looking to put Spencer Waege, not as a outside edge kind of pass rusher, but a pass rusher from the interior. And he's done a pretty good job from that spot already. Let's see how the cornerbacks been looking. They've been looking okay. They've been looking pretty decent. They've been looking pretty decent. I think I want to see a little bit more from some of the cornerbacks again. With these early couple days of practice, I've kind of been following the ball and not really locking into individual positions. But so far, again, as long as you're not guarding Brandon Aiyuk, you've been doing all right. But pretty much BA is snatching everyone's ankles at this point. Charvarius Ward, I haven't seen practice a whole lot. He was working off to the side today. So we haven't gotten the Charvarius Brandon BA one-on-ones that we're really looking for. Yeah, I'm sunburnt. But there's still plenty more to see. Realistically, who's in the running for quarterback one? Well, it feels like it's Brock Purdy's job right now. It feels like Brock Purdy is the quarterback one. But again, if one of these other guys takes an opportunity and runs with it, they of course have the opportunity to make the decision much harder on Kyle Shanahan than the decision that he's already made, which is Brock Purdy is going to be that guy. So right now it's Brock Purdy. If I had to rank the kind of what I've seen from practice so far, I would say it's Brock Purdy. Slight advantage for Sam Darnold right now over Trey, and then Trey and then Brandon Allen. So that's kind of what it looks like, but we're gonna see more tomorrow. We're definitely gonna see more tomorrow. How's Hargrave doing? Hargrave is big. He is powerful, and he is going to be a phenomenal addition to this 49ers defensive line. Really is. I think we're going to see a lot more Hargrave tomorrow, a lot more Eric Armstead tomorrow in the team drills portion of it. And when that happens, it's go time. The competition really starts tomorrow, for sure. Who's looking like to be the starter for slot cornerback? It's definitely looking like Isaiah Oliver right now is going to be your nickel corner. They had Samuel Womack. They have Samuel Womack playing nickel, but they also have Samuel Womack playing outside corner as well. So Womack's playing a little bit of inside, outside, and doing multiple different things. Is there a lineup where Kinlaw, Bosa, Armstead, and Hargrave, or is Kinlaw just second unit? Yeah, I definitely think there is a lineup that exists where Bosa and Armstead are your edges and Hargrave and Kinlaw are the interior unit. That definitely feels like a big run stuffing unit for sure. But that definitely does exist, I think, and could be something that works for the 49ers because Kinlaw so far, again, I don't want to say too much and hype him up too much, but from what I've seen from Kinlaw, I've been pleasantly surprised. Again, he would have had a sack today. So granted, no pads. So we'll take it with a grain of salt. But his get offs look nice. He looks like he's in the best shape of his career. He's been healthy for an entire year. And Javon Kinlaw really does have an opportunity to build on something this year. But again, what does it come down to? Just comes down to being available, and that's it. And so far, he's been available. So I think he looks better than he did last year, and he did start to show flashes in last year's practice as well. So I still believe with Kinlaw, it's not about the talent. It's just about him being able to stay available and stay healthy and stack based on being available rather than constantly trying to rehab or do any of those types of things. So the best case scenario too, like I've talked about, is because you have Hargrave as your anchor, it takes a lot of pressure off Kinlaw to be that anchor and can free him up to kind of pick and choose where they're going to put him. And that could actually ultimately lead to more success for Javon Kinlaw. So I'm not out on Javon yet. Someone said he got tossed the Eagles game. He did. He got tossed like 3 plays, I think it was, on doubles. But what is important is if you continue to watch that tape, which I happened to watch it 3 times on my flight back from Philadelphia because I had no internet on my flight and I suffer from ADHD, so I needed to keep myself busy. So I ended up just re-watching the Philadelphia game like back to back to back, which again, I'm just a football degenerate and I also love misery apparently. Because after watching the Philadelphia game live in person, I decided, you know what? Let's just watch the tape on the flight back and relive this pain. Kinlaw did have a rough first half. But what isn't talked about with Kinlaw in that game is that he fixed those issues. And they were trying to double him again. And he got to the point where he was stuffing double teams, and then he made 2 consecutive plays in a row. Obviously, the game was far gone at that point. But I think it was just more of a leverage play. He wasn't using the correct leverage on doubles. And as a result, he's getting blown. He's getting blown off the line of scrimmage. And then he made a correction. And as a result of that correction, that stopped happening, and that happened in real time. So again, a little too late, but you at least saw the correction happen, which I guess is okay. Angel says that must have been a painful plane ride. It was the worst. It was absolutely the worst plane ride because again, no internet, and coming home from Philadelphia, just watched them lose in the NFC Championship game because Brock Purdy gets knocked out, and I'm just stuck watching film on loop because I need to keep myself busy. And I just really wanted to know everything about that game. Do you think we will alternate Lance and Purdy? At this point, currently where we stand, I would say no. But that doesn't mean things can't change at all. And it can't evolve and it can't happen. Just so far, from what I've seen, Brock Purdy, when he's on the field, is quarterback one. And they're giving him all the reps as if he is quarterback one. So for until we start to see some of those reps get split, it just really doesn't feel right now that is where the competition is at. It really feels like the competition is between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, and they're trying to discern who's going to be the guy who's going to be number two. And then maybe at that point, when they discern, all right, this guy's taken a firm hold of number two, then they're like, all right, well, let's see if he can take number one. Maybe it happens. I don't know. I would say right now it feels pretty firmly that it's Brock Purdy's job, but that also doesn't mean things can't change and evolve over time. So, like I said, so far through the first couple practices, it's definitely Brock Purdy's your quarterback one. It feels like Sam Darnold has got the edge on Trey right now for quarterback two. Trey's three, and then Brandon Allen's just kind of in this league of his own. It's almost like he's the third string quarterback, and they're trying to get him reps just as the third string quarterback, and they're trying to figure out what's happening right there in the middle. So whatever that means, we'll continue to monitor. We'll continue to update what we've seen, but so far there's been no indications based on the snap share allocations or anything that that Brock currently is in any danger of potentially losing the starting job. But hey, things happen all the time. Right now, considering the 49ers haven't had a single padded practice, nothing is set in stone. I wouldn't say anything right now set in stone. I would say that's part of the context of trying to follow along with all these training camp updates and notes and everything that's coming out, is that right now everything's fluid. We haven't even had a padded practice. There's been no training camps, or excuse me, no preseason games, nothing like that. So I would say right now it's still pretty fluid for the 49ers in regards to the whole quarterback situation and what's going down. So we'll continue to see, but again, still haven't even had padded practices yet. So we're taking it one step at a time with the kind of quarterback I guess kind of maturation process. So yeah. Anyways, excited to get back out there tomorrow for pads. Looking forward to it. And of course, shout out to all you guys for tapping in. Appreciate you all. I'm gonna hop out of here for now. Y'all the best. I'm out of here on Instagram. Peace. And I am going to head out on YouTube. And we're going to have a lot of fun updates tomorrow when pads come on. Appreciate you guys. Smash the like button on the way out. I'm out. Peace. smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to